The headlines on ETV. Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn invites Western businesses to invest in Ethiopia. Ethiopia marks World Tourism Day for the 26th time. Uganda steps up security in the capital Kampala in wake of Al-Shabaab attack in neighboring Kenya. Hello and welcome to ETV News with me, Rigbe Johannes. Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn has called on Western business companies to engage in the untapped investment alternatives in Ethiopia. The Premier made the call while explaining business opportunities in Ethiopia to American business companies in New York. Rahel Tekle Johannes reports.
European and American business companies have recently started showing interest to invest in Ethiopia apart from the existing Asian, Arab and African companies. This has been witnessed at the discussion forum held in New York between American business companies and Ethiopian Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn. Global companies operating in Ethiopia have shared their experiences at the event on the profit they earned and favorable investment climate in Ethiopia. Apart from that, a study which showed investment potential and alternatives in the country has also been presented to the participants. Regarding economic performance and business alternatives in Ethiopia, the study indicated manufacturing, mining, hotel and tourism, health and construction as profitable sectors. The study also indicated the government's commitment to fight corruption, various investment opportunities and policies and strategies as factors that are formulated to support the private sector's investment in Ethiopia. Prime Minister Hailemariam also responded to queries raised by the business community on banking system, ICT, tourism and privatization issues, among others.
We are the first in Africa. Now we have every district is connected with fiber optics, and it's around 16,000 kilometers of fiber optics is under laid and it's now functioning. At this infant stage, if we allow foreign banks to come in the banking sector in Ethiopia, obviously our young local banks cannot compete. So they will be out of the market. So we are afraid of this because we need to flex their muscle for some time.
The participants said after the discussion that they were satisfied with the responses and would soon utilize the untapped investment opportunities in Ethiopia.
The reason we invest in Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa, is because of the growth opportunities there. And obviously Ethiopia, the reason we are looking at Ethiopia is because of, number one, you have obviously a large population. Number two, you have a young population. So you have a large consumer base that's available to consume many of the goods being produced. So purely from a returns standpoint, Ethiopia is an attractive market that we see that we can be able to get good returns from our investments.
That one of the big outcomes of this meeting was an appreciation for the difference between perception and reality for the opportunities in Ethiopia. I think that Ethiopia is often overlooked as an investment destination in Africa. An appreciation for how large the population is and what opportunities that presents for consumer markets in Africa.
We were quite intrigued with what we heard today and the promise of future growth and some of the plans both of the other companies looking at Ethiopia, but also, of course, the attitude of government towards growth and economic expansion.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Tedros Adhanom said Ethiopia and Africa are on the rise. He said this while addressing the Global Citizen Festival in New York on Saturday. He told the cheering attendants why they have to visit Africa in general and Ethiopia in particular. Tedros said Africa is now one of the growth poles. He invited them to come, saying it's their root and home of Lucy. The focus of this year's Global Citizen Festival is celebrating success and accelerating progress to a world without extreme poverty by 2030. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, famous artists and singers like Stevie Wonder and Bono were in attendance at the event. Ethiopia marks World Tourism Day for the 26th time in Gondar town of the Amara region. The day is marked under the theme Tourism and Water, Tourism for Sustainable Water Development. Minister of Culture and Tourism Amin Abdul Qadir said the government has allocated 240 million birr to develop tourism sector. He said efforts are underway to further promote historical and tourist attraction sites of the nation to the outside world. Celebrants are touring around selected cultural, historical and natural heritage sites of the state as part of a week-long event. Addis Ababa Islamic Affairs Council said it has finalized preparations to facilitate the travel of this year's Hajj pilgrims to Saudi Arabia. Council President Dr. Ahmed Abdurrahman said the Council has made plans to meet the needs of the pilgrims during their stay in Saudi. This includes accommodation, transportation and other services. He said the Council has denied permit to over 100 applicants whom it said had intentions other than Hajj. The Ethiopian Roads Authority said it's working to finalize construction of 42 road projects this fiscal year. The projects launched over the last 2 years will cost over 28.4 billion birr. The authority told Ethiopian News Agency that the total length of the roads is close to 3,000 kilometers. 73% of the projects are asphalt level, while the remaining are gravel roads. Addis Ababa Adama, Wukro Adigrat Zalambesa, Gedio Bako Nekamte and Jimma Bonga Mizan are among the projects. According to the authority, 32 of the total projects are being constructed by local contractors. Most of the projects will be financed by the government, while some will be covered with a loan from the World Bank. Jimma University said it has opened 13 additional fields of study in postgraduate program this academic year. Postgraduate program Director General with the university, Professor Taferra Belacho, said the university has opened 11 of the total fields at master's program, while 2 fields are at doctorate level. He said the master's program include pharmaceutical supply, distribution and control, IT, electricity and power economics, program networking, natural conservation, literature and dental health, among others. According to the director, the 2 doctoral fields of study on food and tropical and transmittable diseases are the first to be launched in the country. Welcome back. You're watching the news on ETV. Uganda steps up security in the capital Kampala in wake of Al-Shabaab attack on a shopping mall in neighboring Kenya. Habib Mohammed takes up Reuters file.
Uganda, which is like Kenya, has sent troops to fight Islamist militants in Somalia, has stepped up security after a raid Islamist militants on the Kenyan shopping mall that killed at least 67 civilians and soldiers. On Friday, security guards were inspecting men and women arriving at the National Mosque for midday prayers. There was also heightened security in the capital's main shopping mall, with private security guards inspecting cars.
The police and other security forces are taking extra security measures to ensure that people are safe and their property against any terror attack. Among the measures undertaken by security is the increased patrols of all the roads, all the city premises, and all places where there are temporary and permanent crowds. We have also intensified access control measures to public places where police is in charge, or the places where we have been forced to take over from private security.
Kenyan authorities are holding 8 people in connection with the weekend attack at the Westgate shopping mall. Opinions were mixed among Kampala residents who had to go through security checks.
They're not coming to Uganda, they are in Kenya. So they are just wasting our time. We used to pass here on time, running. they are checking us, open the bags, what. So they are just disturbing us. Those things were in Kenya. They are not coming to Uganda.
The last big attack by Somalia's Al-Shabaab was a double bombing in Uganda in 2010, targeting people watching the Soccer World Cup final on television in Kampala.
And in Kenya, prayers for peace and unity were held on Sunday as the government faces questions on whether it had received advance intelligence warnings of the deadly Al-Shabaab strike. At All Saints Cathedral in the capital, Nairobi, Reverend Sami Wainana addressed the congregation, encouraging them not to lose hope and faith after last week's attack. The Kenyan government is facing questions after newspaper reports cited early intelligence warnings of the attack at the Westgate shopping center, which is popular among Westerners and Kenyans. At least 67 civilians and police have been killed in the attack. In the northern part of the continent, Tunisia's Islamist-led government has agreed to resign after talks with opponents. It is hoped a caretaker government will be negotiated over the next 3 weeks that will prepare for new elections. The decision marks a breakthrough in weeks of crisis involving the ruling coalition led by the Islamist Ennahda party and the secular opposition. The talks were announced on Saturday by the powerful UGTT labor union, which will act as a mediator. The union urged both sides to set a date for next week. That ends the news, but do stay with us for the rest of our transmission.